What is going on, party people? We are back with another Crub snippet. Just some ideas for your soul for the show that always gets worse. Brody, what are we talking about?
Today, first of all, Crub snippet brings to mind horrible imagery. But today, we're going to be talking about Soulslikes, which are those games that are Souls games that aren't made by the guys who make Souls games.
All right.
So from software.
Yes, there's a wide variety of these games, and no one's quite sure these days what actually qualifies something as a Souls-like. And so I asked our audience a few questions. This is related to the Souls Hot Takes episode that you might have seen, but specifically, we want to talk about what elements of a game make it comparable to Souls games or make it a Souls-like. And to sort of set the tone, set the stage of what this could mean, there's sort of a spectrum or a breadth of scope in which what could a Souls-like could be. Because two games that are often called Souls-likes are Hollow Knight and Neo, or Neo 2. And these games could not be less like each other.
Yeah.
And yet both bring something to the table that could qualify them to be called, that is definitely like Souls.
Yeah.
Right? And where Neo brings the sort of moment-to-moment gameplay of what a Souls is expected to have, it lacks a lot of the other elements that Hollow Knight has in spades, but the moment-to-moment gameplay is very different. And we'll get a little bit into that. But first, I want to read off some hot takes, as they were, or just different reasons why our audience thinks what a Souls-like is. And so our first one here, the most interesting one is, and this is about Souls specifically as well, but it fit really well into this conversation. It says that Souls games showcase that genres in games can still be developed in today's world. And I think we know that right nowadays, especially with the advent of the Metroidvania, the expressive platformer, the friend slop, the roguelike deck builder, the boomer shooter, like all of these sub-micro genres. We did a whole episode on them. You can see it up on the YouTube. But Souls-likes specifically kind of almost a progenitor of this micro-genreification because it happened a little bit before everything started to go really haywire. But we've seen all different kinds of things. And so some things that some of our viewers think make a Souls-like. We have one here that says it is typically a combination of presentation, such as lore entries or hidden stories, aesthetic and world design. Souls games have an almost Metroidvania map progression without any ability progression, i.e. interconnected maps locked behind elevators, locked doors, ledges, ladders. So what they're saying here is that they're like a Metroidvania, except you're never progressing because you got an ability. You level up in a Souls game, but all of the shortcuts are you found the door that you unlock. You don't get the double jump to then access the new area, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And you have to kill a boss essentially to get to the new area because it's behind them.
Yes,
something like that. Yeah, it's all physical, location based, and modes of
rather than ability based,
etc.
Yeah,
which is certainly very, very interesting, right? Like obviously a game like Hollow Knight kind of takes that and says, well, what happens if we do make the progression tied to abilities? What if we do say, okay, there are areas you can only get when you get the dash or when you get the double jump or where you get the glide and all of these things. And I think personally, it makes for one of the best video game experiences that I've ever had. Even if there is not that moment-to-moment combat, it's a different style of combat. Go ahead. Yeah, no, please.
I was gonna say because like a lot of people that I know, whenever they talk about like Souls-like or Soulsborne, they always talk about like the boss fights and how difficult they are. I feel like for Hollow Knight, because Hollow Knight does have those difficult bosses, I feel like the platforming itself is a boss, which makes it more like a Souls-like in my opinion, because you have to be good at the platforming, and that in and of itself is kind of a boss whenever you like really break it down in a way. Because even like seasoned platform junkies have difficulty in those games. So it's not just a Metroidvania, but I think like the difficulty with going through these like level designs and traverse and what have you, I think that kind of adds to its resume to being a Souls-like rather than just strictly a Metroidvania with hard bosses. It was just a random thing that just hit.
There's a lot of that, especially once you get into like I would call it late game tech in terms of like the dash especially, but also like that game contains the Shovel Knight like hop mechanic, right, where you have a directional attack that can go up, down, left, right, and if you do it downwards and hit something below you, you'll do like a hop up, and some bosses are genuinely easier to avoid if you can pull that off, and you can kind of stay in the air and just keep whacking on them and stuff, and it's really cool, really very satisfying.
It's DuckTales, not Shovel Knight. Thank you.
Yeah. So the Shovel Knight thing is really cool, and
so
I'm sorry I had to be that.
I have some very hard and fast opinions of what make a game a Souls game.
Okay.
But I'll save those for later.
We have some more. We have some more viewer takes, and we can kind of pull it all back in.
Yeah, I think as far as like a Hollow Knight goes, while I don't want that to be what people think of when they think of a Souls game, it is in fact a Souls game, if not for anything, for the progression system and the like bonfire and Souls like retrieve your currency.
Right. Another
system,
take we have here is they say the bonfire mechanic, I think, is one feature that instantly pegs a game as a Souls-like.
Yep.
And I can understand that, right? The whole bonfire mechanic in Hollow Knight, it's benches, but there is a safe space, and you can rest there. You don't have to worry about enemies being there. You can take the time to level up or re-kit, like check your build, whatever it is, check your badges. You are going to the go and retrieve your souls mechanic, right, is obviously there, very present.
Big time.
There's some interesting things that you can do with it, like technically in Hollow Knight, the ghosts that you retrieve your souls from, if you die in a specific area very strategically, you can then do the shovel bounce on that ghost to like do some sequence breaks in the game, which is really cool. It's interesting to see the ways that you can go through that. And you know, and we'll talk about a lot of the different Souls ones, but I asked in the forum that people submitted on, I said, which of these Souls-like games have you played? And I listed a bunch of the common ones. I had a thing in there in case anyone wanted to like write in one, because I know I wasn't going to hit all of them. Overwhelmingly, the most played Souls-like game in our audience, 88.9% played Hollow Knight. The next one after that was, surprisingly to me, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Crazy.
Then below that, it's Remnant 1 and 2 or Neo 1 and 2.
Oh, I love Remnant.
And Liza P, which we will be talking about extensively here, I feel. Liza P only had 11%.
That makes sense.
I don't know Remnant. Never heard of it.
Remnant is like if Souls were a shooter. It's weird.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But I like it.
Game.
Yeah,
I gotta
it's
give
like
it a try.
instead of like, yeah, no, I think you'd really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a good time.
I played The Surge.
I have The Surge on here. 11% have also played
11%.
I'd say it's like in that vein a little bit.
Okay.
Someone wrote in Tunic, which has a little bit of it. There's rolling. Another Crab's Treasure. Someone's played that. I have Salt and Sanctuary and Black Myth Wukong and Wolong Fallen Dynasty, Blasphemous, Darksiders 3.
Did anybody say Ghost of Tsushima?
No one said Ghost of Tsushima, Nico.
What?
But I have one that's wilder. Someone is claiming that the Batman Arkham series is a Souls-like.
I back that.
You agree?
I back that.
I view that more
third-person action RPG, Souls.
It's more. I view that more as like a Devil May Cry than anything. Like
I think Arkham is its very own kind of flavor of combat, and then the open world is just a superhero game, or
like
in Asylum's case,
but also
specifically a Metroidvania.
It's also like I'm being super obtuse here.
I don't see it at all.
I don't think it. Okay, I lied. I actually want to back out of this one. I actually think I don't care.
That's fair. I just don't see it.
I think, I don't think I care whether it is or not.
I just see it more akin to Devil May Cry than.
Right,
Soulsborne. And that's not even to say that it's like Devil May Cry at all.
It's like saying, is a hot dog a
that.
sandwich? Like, no, it's a hot dog. Like, yeah, okay, maybe Arkham is not a Souls game. Maybe it's an Arkham game. But
Kevin,
there are
the Golden
commonalities.
Bolt, friend of the podcast in
friend
chat,
of the podcast.
because this is the post show. We can acknowledge chat.
Yeah.
Does say that if Arkham is a Souls game, then by that logic, Assassin's Creed is, because like what is like the combat like. I think Arkham simplifies it to the point of like Arkham gives you prompts, like literal colored prompts for what button you're supposed to press, which is very Assassin's Creed in nature. Like I don't think Asylum is very Metroidvania-y, more so than the later games, which are kind of your more open world superhero type games.
Right.
Asylum, I could almost see an argument, but only because it's not a Souls-like. It's a Metroidvania, but it's not a Souls-like. These are not mutually inclusive terms.
There are there are elements that I could say these games have in common. Does that make them a Souls-like? I'm actually for realsies gonna say no. But I see like what people are saying, you know, a third person action RPG with a dodge button. Like
God.
You know, that's because I call Ghost of Tsushima a Souls game, even though I know it's not.
Gosh, okay.
Like
so
you know.
Yeah, and I want to just get some of these more our viewer takes on what makes a Souls game.
I'm into that.
So someone says it is sharp level scaling, respawning basic enemies, a focus on bosses/boss battles to unlock new areas or progress, interconnected map to encourage exploration, finely tuned combat with dodge and attack mechanics, and exploitably predictable enemy attack patterns. Yep. Which, if I'm being on the most technical basis of interpretation of what this one says here, I guess technically that fits Arkham.
That's a lawyer. Yeah, that's a lawyer. That's a lawyer ass take. And it's because it's true.
I
right?
wonder.
Like,
I do wonder if these were sent in by the same person.
Yeah, you hit everything. Like you hit everything you need. Like that. Those are like the elements, basically, right? And like it's you know, I have like my own opinions of what I think people should take away from these games. And by people, I mean future game developers. And a lot of these things come from just the way the combat like handles, and not necessarily like the obtuseness of the games themselves, but the obtuseness I find comes part of the equation and unfortunately comes with the package. But I don't think that the obtuseness is like what makes a game a Souls game. I think you're allowed to not be obtuse and still be
sure.
A Souls
And I think we see that. I think we see FromSoft attempting a little bit of that in Sekiro, and we see Liza P does a lot to sort of streamline the Souls experience and explicitly not be quite as obtuse and just get you right into the action.
Yep. I love it.
Some of the things I really like. I think there's a lot of good quality of life choices in Liza P that I think Souls could benefit from. I also think there are elements in that game that do sort of like Liza P is like 85% of what I want in a Souls game. 15% doesn't, but it makes up for that in its own original ideas.
Yeah.
So I'm not upset about it by any means. I think the level design is a little more simplistic in Liza P. I think Liza P is the most linear Souls game I've played.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But in the context of that game, I don't mind it. It's not what I would want for Souls specifically, but I don't mind it in that game.
No, yeah. The level design is like fine in that game. Actually, I think it's quite good, but it is its own thing in comparison to Dark Souls. Like it has its own verticality that I think kind of sets it apart and gives it its own identity just from the standpoint of you know, when I think about these games, what can I differentiate about them? Lies of P's verticality is very specific in comparison to Dark Souls 1, which had sort of the most verticality of all the Souls games. But yeah, it's cool. It's very Bloodborne, like, but it also is, to your point, Brody, simplistic, easy to understand, and I think kind of makes it digestible.
Yeah, I don't fault it for that at all. It is digestible, like to the point where I think it's the first Souls game I'm genuinely considering playing the New Game Plus on. Like if I beat it, like
It's
fun,
got
man.
new DLC.
It's a good one. The
I don't know
DLC
if
is
I'll do the DLC
very
because
good.
I know and I want to play it, but I have the game from like PS Plus off of a game share friend that I don't know if he's going to renew it. So dropping $40 on a DLC that I may not have access to doesn't seem like the best course of action.
Oh, it's
That's
so
fair.
fair, dude. But man, it is very, very, very fun. It is an incredibly good DLC. They tie a lot of story things together nicely. And the bosses are incredibly, incredibly good. So are the levels. So are the areas.
Yeah.
A lot of good exploration to be had.
So someone is saying, they say that their take here for what makes a Souls-like is it's mainly the boss battles and puzzle elements to the world that seem to be similar. I know Souls-likes interlace their worlds, so it's easy to get around. Tunic does that in its game, which makes it interesting to maneuver. And I agree with that. Tunic, in particular, does have a lot of that game. Tunic is a top-down Souls-like Metroidvania, and I'm not making that up. I wish I was, but it's not.
Yeah,
and
it's
the fact that
Brody.
like, and it's so open in that you can explore once you have the knowledge of the mechanics, you can explore the world, and you're unlocking shortcuts in a very Soulsy way, but also in a way where you're doing it in the Metroidvania way of doing it with the upgrades, but also in the Brainia way of the upgrades or your knowledge of the game. Like, I think Kevin says it very well in our video talking about Metroidvanias and microgenre specifically. Like, Tunic is kind of the most indie game.
Yeah.
In so many ways.
Shouts out that video. Go check it out if you haven't. But yeah.
No, check it out if you have.
Also check it out.
Go
if you
watch
have.
it again.
Just check it out. You don't have a choice. Check it out now.
Shouts out.
Actually, no, not now, but after this.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I like the aspect of the Souls games that everything is like kind of well, okay, wait. So that take right there is like pretty good at covering perhaps some elements that first very technical take did not cover, which is like the world kind of being full of puzzles. I think that should come up more and kind of doesn't. But there are a lot of puzzles in these games, and we talked about it in our main episode. Shouts out that episode. And yeah, more puzzle bosses. I think we see a couple in Liza P, at least one, with I guess it's a
they
gimmick
exist.
and not a
Liza P
puzzle.
definitely does go the more like to what someone had said about their sort of complaint about where Souls has gone. Like, Liza P is very much like, go be good at the combat mechanics. I don't know that there is like a whole lot of puzzles. Now there is like Nico, you were telling me, there is a rock, paper, scissors elemental system that just makes the game.
Yeah, the rock, paper,
easier.
scissors. The rock, paper, scissors elemental system goes absolutely insane in that game.
Goes crazy.
Yeah.
But Liza P does some interesting things, right? Like, where it is trying to be a little more Bloodborne with its weapons, like, that game tries to do a lot of like trick weapons, but then it does an interesting thing where if you, outside of the boss weapons, which I do think is a shame because I really like a lot of the boss weapons, I use the boss weapons, so I didn't really get to engage with this system too much aside from the beginning.
Is it the handle system?
The handle system where you can basically mix and match, like, oh, do you want one weapon's R1 attack, but you want another weapon's R2 heavy attack? Like, you can put those together, and there's a flow, like, you can mix and match them, but they all have a combo flow that feels like as good as it feels to use one of Bloodborne's trick weapons, but it does it for like an insane amount of combinations of weapons in that game. Like, it's actually crazy to the point where another reason I want to play New Game Plus is I want to experiment with more of those weapons. Like, I'm a scythe wielder, which is a boss weapon, and I love that weapon, but I want to experiment with that system because it seems really cool.
Yeah, like I use great swords in that, but also I have like this. My one weapon is like the wrench, like the big wrench, but on like I think it's the police baton.
Oh, nice.
And I just like R2 the mess out of everything. I'm just like I'm gonna stunlock you. You don't have a choice.
I used the handle system quite a lot because I'm a parry god, but they give you PEDs in that game, so why not take them?
Yeah.
And so essentially I had the grindstone that let you parry things uncontrollably. And then I also had the handle where when you hold L1 and press triangle, it auto parries. And so
that one, yeah.
And then
That makes
I had
sense.
stuff to build the Fable arts back up so that I could just unlimited parry.
Just parry everything.
And what's crazy, and a point of contention that Nico and I have been discussing as I've been making my way through the game, I've almost beaten the game. I have not parried once.
Yeah, dude, and honestly, and I've been telling him a very reasonable take, which is that you have to use both. Like,
Right,
and I can tell you have to use both.
The game has unique mechanics that are designed to incentivize you to parry. It wants you to parry, like, actively. And I am just like, no, I'm under 30% of my weight. I can be I can be a roly boy. I'm just going to be a total roly boy. And the thing is I've been doing it. I basically am speccing it into Fable arts so I can get that going off as much as possible. And I just, if I can get the right sequence of rolls off, I shred. Like, I shred in a way that I did not expect to.
Yeah.
But it's so cool, right? That the fact that game is able to, even though it kind of wants you to parry, it is leaning towards that play style. I'm genuinely like surprised. Yeah, I'm really surprised that they are letting me be the roly boy.
Yeah.
I haven't parried at all. I'm just literally like, all right, I'm just going to tank this hit as I'm like swinging this thing down upon you. You don't have a choice.
I parry everything. I'm not like I said, I use the like free parry mechanics. So like I'm out of, I guess, practice because I had been late game for so long. But I also just spec'd into a new build. So I do acid and now other elemental damage. So like I've been trying to deal like fire and acid at the same time type damage. I use
to Liza P's credit with regards to like unobtusing the obtuse Souls mechanics, like these are kind of mechanics that do exist in Souls in a way, right? Like fire and electricity being more effective on certain enemies, but Liza P is just very upfront about it all.
Yeah.
It doesn't try to like hide those mechanics. It just straight up is like, electric's better against puppets.
Yeah.
Fire's better against flesh.
In fact, it tells you, it tells you in that like there are areas where you're clearing out corpse type enemies and you throw like the goblets of fire down to like clear it out. So it tells you, you know?
Yeah. No, 100%. Like it's really impressive. I got two more takes on specifically from our audience for what makes a Souls-like.
Okay.
And I think these are both interesting. I think these play back sort of into the Hollow Knight versus Neo of it all. This one says, I think truly good Souls-likes try to bring that sense of adventure and exploration, getting lost in new worlds, characters, and areas. And I agree with that wholeheartedly, like personally. I think one of the things that I still haven't played Neo, and one of the things that is making me like not really want to engage with it so much as I know it's like mission based, right? Like it's like you click a mission and then you go do the mission and there's all these like super intricate, like beautifully animated cutscenes, but it's not what I want out of that.
You like choose to go to certain areas, like certain levels.
Yeah, I haven't played Neo either.
And then
but like the combat itself, right, is very much be parrying or be engaging with these tough bosses.
Well, you can choose like different stances for every weapon. Like you can choose like a up, middle, or like low stance.
Learn the high intensity third person action combat, like learn the boss and all of that stuff that makes a good Souls boss. But I don't know that everything surrounding Neo I think you're gonna like personally a good Souls experience. I think I would like it as a game. I don't think I would like it for what I want out of a Souls game.
Yeah, I think. But
I would welcome being proved wrong, right? Because more of that in my life, I'm happy for it.
I started to play it, and then the build system ended up being like much too complicated for me.
That makes sense.
So I just gave up on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? It's time to just not worry about this anymore.
And so the final entry here for what makes a Souls-like, someone says, I think playing very similar into that last one is a dreary atmosphere sometimes a story told abstractly and being punished more harshly for mistakes, which is an interesting way to put that, I think.
I think that's a misunderstanding of it all.
Yeah, I don't know that it necessarily, like, I am someone who really appreciates that. We had a whole conversation in the main episode about that and how some people want a more colorful thing like another Crab's Adventure or whatever it is.
Another Crab's Treasure. Shouts out.
And you know, and we all said, I think, that we do appreciate what Souls is bringing to the table on that front. But is that inherent? I don't know that I agree with that quite as much. I like it.
Yeah.
I really like it.
I like
and
it too, but I don't think it's
certainly...
inherent. Because like,
it is certainly like what makes me like Hollow Knight as much as I do in that Soulsy way. But yeah, I don't know that it's inherent.
Liza P straight up has like whimsical, magical fairy tale creatures. Like, you know,
just play Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, Liza P is even though it is very much
Sean.
like even though Liza P is very much wearing its inspiration on its face with like Bloodborne and Sekiro, like it is not afraid to do something different and be a little more whimsical, a little more jovial. The cops are coming because we're saying
the cops are coming because we're saying things.
They don't like we're saying that Souls games can be not so dreary.
They don't like that.
Gosh. It needs to be sad.
I mean, look, right? Like, again, all of the beautiful vistas we've seen in Souls games, Sekiro, Liza P, like, think about, I mean, Sekiro has the full Sakura garden that's all pink and like green. And it looks beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful areas in, for my money, all of gaming. And it's super cool, and it's not always dreary and drab all the time. Like Sekiro is a beautiful, very bright game, I find, generally speaking.
Yeah,
for like
and
2/3 of it.
I don't personally like. I've always been interested in a game like Another Crab's Treasure, because I want to see what kind of a more scrimblow aesthetic Souls game is. That's crazy, right? Like that is. It's weird to say that that's a novel idea because no one's done it yet, but it is a novel idea.
Yeah, I checked it out briefly. It seemed pretty cool. I couldn't get the gameplay right. Like I kept having like weird input lag, so I have to like figure that out. But once I do, I'm gonna give that game a try.
You can always turn on the gun mode that just gives you shooter controls and one shots every enemy, including bosses.
Jeez Louise.
The ultimate assist mode.
Man.
Gosh.
Jeez Louise. Mode. I need to get that in Metal Gear Rising.
But yeah, these are all really neat ideas for what makes a Souls game. I think we all, at the end of the day, it weirdly is a little bit personal of a definition, right? Like, obviously I skew more towards something like a Hollow Knight than a Neo, but someone who is there for mostly the combat probably does skew more towards a Neo. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything with seeking out the different facets of the experience. I think it's really cool that we're now at a point where so many devs are saying, hey, these are the elements that I love from these games. These are the elements that I don't feel like I need to make the experience that I want to make. Yeah. And I'm going to pick and choose, and I'm going to team cherry pick all the elements I want.
Yeah. I think for me, the closest non-Lies of P game was The Surge.
I've heard great things about The Surge, particularly The Surge 2. I heard Surge 1 was a little mid, and then Surge 2 like gets it right.
The Surge was fine. Yeah, the thing is, it was just, it got the formula right in a way that like we hadn't seen in a while. It just doesn't have the same type of a sauce that Liza P has. But it gets the most to the point of it.
To close us out, I'm gonna give us the question that we left. This is the question we left on in the main episode.
Let's hear it.
That's why we're here. The question is, of course, why is Lies of P better than any Souls game?
It's not.
I also agree, Sean, for the record, but that's not the question.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's different. I do think it's its own thing. I do think it's not as well. I also think it's not different in its own thing. Here's the thing, right?
Okay.
I think it's a really good starting point, ironically, because it tells you exactly what you're going to get. Now it has the difficulties on offer, so it solves that problem that sort of the community has been decrying for years. I think the aesthetic is a lot lighter. I think it's a little bit easier to comprehend and handle. And I think if you're just looking to like kind of, hey, what are these games about? I've never touched them. Here's a good one that is like not, quite as obtuse as the other ones are, and it offers to me similar, if not better quality bosses in some cases, with little to no filler, and the DLC is excellent, and it has some unique systems, and it also allows you to not have to meet it on its terms because it is versatile, to Brody's point earlier. That's what I have to say about it.
Yeah, I've had an amazing time with it. It might genuinely be the first Souls game that I do a New Game Plus run on. Not that I wouldn't do it with the other ones, but like this one is like, I don't know, it's calling to me in a weird way, and it's a mark of quality that I started playing it and I was like, yeah, okay, I get it. Bloodborne, I get it. They got the arm from Sekiro. Okay, I get it. And then little by little, it just kept winning me over, and I was so pleasantly surprised. I was so charmed by everything it did, and I didn't expect it. And
super charming game.
I love it. I really do. I would say though, for my money, right, Bloodborne is my favorite Souls game, and technically speaking, I like Hollow Knight just that little bit more than Bloodborne. So for me, Hollow Knight is my favorite Souls game. That's right, Hollow Knight, bro. Right, I love 2D it. Girly. I love it to death.
Right. I mean, you are two-dimensional.
I don't like side scrollers that much. Like, I'm a 3D platformer guy. That's why I want to try another Crab's Treasure or whatever. But like, I'm not a side scroller guy. But it's the fact that Hollow Knight manages to translate the Souls experience into an entirely different genre of moment-to-moment gameplay, and at the same time be the best of its own Metroidvania genre. At the same time, it's the best of that while doing Souls perfectly, while being its own just amazing experience in and of itself that like isn't afraid to let players miss like tons of content. Like 50% of that game is missable if you're not like looking around. You can get to the end of that game pretty quick if you just beeline the main points, but there's so much to explore. There's so much to do, like there's so much little hidden things, like the Path of Pain, which is like this Mario style like final gauntlet type like deal. That's just Mario. Yeah, it's hidden in a place that is in and of itself hidden. Like there's a whole optional area that you can go to, and then if you break a secret wall in that area, you can do the Path of Pain, and it's like genuinely difficult, but it's so fun to do. Like I had more fun doing that than like attempting the actual boss rushes, which I have never finished. But Path of Pain was fantastic, and the bosses themselves are great. Just the rushes, I was like, oh boy. Yeah. Just absolutely incredible. And I'm so excited for Silk Song. I can't believe it's about to come out. By the time this goes up, maybe it's already out, and I'm so excited.
Nice, man.
So what happens if it comes out and you don't beat Liza P? You're just gonna give up on Liza
That's P? The funny thing. That is the hilarious thing. The one thing that might actually get me away from Liza P before I beat the game is if Silk Song comes out.
Oh, come on, buddy. I can't wait.
Before I do it.
No, you have to do it. If you're in the last area, you are close.
I'm so close.
Yeah.
Why don't you play Hollow Knight to like get the controls back?
Gosh, Sean, stop it. Stop it, man. Stop it.
I mean, you know what? I'll boot up Hollow Knight now.
Take this man seriously.
I am.
I dare you.
Oh, gosh.
Sean, what's
what's your favorite Souls like? What
is Souls like? It is.
I don't know, Sean. It's almost like we spent half an hour discussing what it is.
Yeah, where have you been, bro?
I'm kidding. God. I'm here. But no, when it comes to like Souls-like games, I think to me, Souls-like kind of has like the same feel as metal in music, because there's new metal, there's hardcore, post-hardcore, power metal, and what have you. And there's different types of Souls-like, in my opinion. You could also do like Metroidvanias and what have you. So for me, like I love Neo, but I also Hollow Knight, Liza P, Tunic, I see more like a Zelda thing, but then some people might be able to argue that, hey, some Zelda games are kind of more XYZ. There's, to me, like you have Mortal Shell and what have you. I think to me, the best Souls-likes are the ones that like have that spirit, but transform it. Like again, we've been talking about Hollow Knight and Liza P for good reason. Neo, I think, is most aesthetically like, From Software games. But the same reason, like, that we've talked about these things, like, look at Armored Core from Software.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's not a Souls-like.
That is actually a fantastic. I think to go out. I think touching on Armored Core is perfect because that is literally that is a different genre of game that FromSoft used to did all of their Souls games and then did that game and went, oh, we've injected our level design ethos, our combat ethos.
Yeah, and we've even injected then it's all of that into Souls-like.
It's not a Souls-like, but then there's so much of it that does feel like it has that Souls DNA.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy, dude.
It's like baking. Like, you have all these different ingredients and you add these little things here and there. And, like, sure, you may not end up with, like, the same chocolate cake, but maybe you end up with, like, an Oreo cake or what have you. Yeah. It's like, okay. Or, like, oh, I just, instead of doing that, I made, like, a little parfait because I used, like, some of the icing that I would use on that with the parfait, what have you. There's different ways, different ingredients, different styles that I think really makes Souls-like in general, like, that intriguing, because it's like, it's something you feel. It's hard to tell.
It is something you feel in a way.
Voice.
And it's like you feel it or you don't.
100%.
And
IP.
You can tell when it's a copy or when it's like, oh, they genuinely got the soul of this.
Yep.
You know?
Yep, they're sauced. It's a very specific the design ethos, right? Like it's cool that it translates like that. I align. And I love Armored Core.
Everything Sean just said about baking, I think applies the Oreo cake and example and all of that. I think it really is like, I for one, I know, we like to meme on the new age microgenres, but I for one welcome the microgenres. Not necessarily because they're helpful to explain what a game is to someone else, but I welcome the microgenres so that I can type them in my game storefront of choice and find other games that give me a feel of the game that I'm looking for that might not even necessarily be in the same, like, moment-to-moment genre. Like, the way that I can find different Metroidvanias that are literally nothing alike each other and yet still elicit that feel.
Yep.
The way that I can do that for Souls-likes, the way that I can do that for roguelikes and deck builders and all of those things. I welcome it. 100%. Give me more microgenres, please.
I'm with you. I actually am with you. And with that, folks, I think we're going to call it a night. It's late here, fellas. What do you say?
Yeah, I'm thinking so.
All right. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this little snippet of some quick ideas from the Crub crew. Catch us live every Tuesday from between 6:30 and 7. We start at twitch.tv/Crub_official. Catch us at Crub Official everywhere else, folks. Come back to us in the next one. Everything's getting worse. We'll see you later. Goodbye.
Everything's bad, and I love you.